Yo! So this one's going to be super informal. Reason for it being, I made a video yesterday about scripting and how you basically can imagine yourself sitting through your entire day, week, month, year, whatever it is, and sort of putting yourself in the moment that you'd like to experience, the perfect reality you'd like to experience. And the point of it is to feel the emotion in the present moment of that which has not happened yet. And that emotion in your subconscious brain will bring it to you. It's kind of like the thought of something is like a line. You cast it out into the ocean or into a lake if you're in the middle of the country like me. And then the emotion itself, when that goes and impresses itself on the subconscious brain, the feeling state, that's kind of what draws it back in. And that relates loosely to quantum mechanics. How does that work if you don't even know what you want to do? Like, if you don't know your perfect dream reality, that video yesterday is useless, because how do you imagine something if you don't know what you want to do? So I'm going to start off with the second part of, there was a comment on the video. So before you figure out whatever your deepest desire or passion is, I would firstly focus on the energy that you're currently feeling, because you had mentioned that you want to keep like your energetic state up. So I'm guessing because if you're not working right now, that it doesn't feel good. I know, I've been there. I feel you. I don't know what the situation is, but I remember after I left taxes and I didn't finish the CPA and I was like out all that money and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, that was my personality. Like, I had no fucking clue. I didn't know what I was interested in. All I knew is that I was really good at World of Warcraft and shit. But there's no money in that. I was like, what am I going to do? Go from doing taxes to streaming video games and stuff? No, so it's... And even then, the future jobs I ended up in, they weren't necessarily my perfect passion, my perfect dream. But looking back now, if I were to redo everything, I probably would try scripting. But instead of trying to have a very distinct image of your perfect reality, whatever it is, you can tell yourself before, like, I want to see myself in that reality. And all the things in there, they don't matter. I'm being serious when I say this, okay? Because sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It really matters to what your intention is that you set when you go into the whole scripting process. Same thing with meditation. The most important thing you can do to figure out whatever your deepest passion, desire is to journal about it and ask yourself the question, you know, if money was of no issue, what would I want to do for the rest of my life, right? If I had to work a job and I was never allowed to retire, what would I want to be doing? Start asking yourself the questions that are so far removed from money, materialism, all that stuff, and it's just based off the love that you have for that purpose. Because I don't know what your passions are. You could be an amazing artist, right? If you are a very creative person, I will tell you this, you'll probably never be happy working a 9-to-5 type of desk job, most likely. You got to get into something with the arts, and the way I'd probably get started is just either film yourself, try and sell whatever it is that you're making, right? There's ways to get into it, but without knowing exactly what your situation is, I don't know. But going back to the energy thing, so how can we raise our vibration in the present moment? Let's assume that we're not feeling so great about ourselves, and we'd like to feel better, because as you feel better, your thoughts will improve, and so you have a higher chance of having those delicious thoughts that tell you exactly what you probably should be doing with the rest of your life. So number one is you got to get outside. The sun is the most important thing. Get outside in the morning, get some sun in your eyeballs. It does make a difference. Vitamin D is huge, especially if you're a guy. It directly relates into your hormones. You need it. It is so important. So that also eggs. Don't skip. Cholesterol is a psyop, so I'm not going to explain on that one, but do not avoid healthy fats. Healthy fats are the fuel for your brain. So if you ask yourself all these questions, you want all those neurons firing, right? You want to be able to have your full imagination going rampant, going wild, and saying, okay, what can I do? What is possible? What is the dream? Because if you can see it, you can achieve it. Everything is possible if you can see it. It does require work, right? Things don't just magically happen. Like, of course, I script out my days, but when I was doing my scripting this morning, I didn't script out that I was going to be making like a video sitting on my couch, just chilling with my dog, right? But I have a part of the script of me having the reaction of posting it when I'm done. Not actually posting it, but like writing out the description. That's what I like to focus on. It's like a new video. I don't know what the thumbnail is yet. I don't know what the video is about yet. But when I finish the videos up, I usually write like a long description. And while I'm writing it, I just kind of see myself within that imagination writing it out. I'm not reading the words. I don't care what the thumbnail is. Doesn't matter what the video is. I focus on myself and view him and what his energetic state is, and then just try and match it, which is kind of how I feel right now. It feels like I'm on fire. That might be because it's humid as all balls right now in Illinois. But that is what it is. It is what it is. So what are some other ways? I'd say diet for sure. That's a big one. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but some of the higher processed foods will make you feel worse. They will lower your vibration a little bit. So fruits, veggies, water, lots of water. Water is probably the biggest one of all, seeing as we're entirely made up of water almost. And then, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's like everything health related, like just focusing on yourself. The more you remove yourself from social media, from being online, from being engaged, whether it's screen time, whether it's being somewhere in the city, surrounded by people on all sides, you know, if you want to find God, you have to go out in the desert. And I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Hopefully it doesn't take 40 years. That would be fucking crazy. But you gotta get everyone else's opinions about what you should be out of your life. Like right now, I can give you advice, but I would never tell you what's perfect for you because I don't know what's going on inside your noggin. There's things that you could be interested about that people have shut down for years and said, oh no, you can't do that. And usually it's out of a state of lack. For most people, when they shoot down others, they're like, oh, you can't sell pottery because, well, I can't even use a kiln or whatever. So if that person can't make pots, then obviously they're not going to be able to see the dream in which you're able to sell yours. So the more you remove yourself from other people and then, you know, exercise, eat clean, get plenty of sun, nature, breath work techniques. I like doing the box breathing. So 4 second breath in, and then hold it for 4, and then out for 4, and then 4 seconds before the next breath. It slows everything down a little bit. So going back to the original point, get that energy up a little bit, and then I would focus heavily on the journaling. I would go, I understand it might be hard at the beginning, and if you're somebody who can do pictures, maybe that's your passion, because you had mentioned that you could draw pictures for your script and your journal, which I'm not artistic, so I find art to be absolutely fascinating. Like I love it. I mean, in a sense, I am artistic, but I'm just not. I haven't given it the time. So if that's a natural talent of yours, chase it. If you have any passions, dreams, well, not dreams, but passions where it's It's something you want to do every fucking day. Do that. And when I say do that, find something related to it that you could start, you could switch, you could get a new job at an art supply store. It doesn't even matter. You could do anything, but just start working towards it in the present moment. And then as far as scripting goes, if you don't have a job and you would like to have a job, don't focus on walking into a certain particular building when you're scripting, right? Because you're gonna journal before, like, I am working my dream job. So you're trying to impress that on your subconscious brain, and that will, express itself eventually into your reality. However, it gets much quicker and much easier to manifest if you're able to focus more and more and more on it, right? The more thought you give to something, the more you focus on it, the quicker it happens. So within that scripting process, if you don't know what you want to do, just focus on how you think you would feel if you were doing whatever that passion is. Focus on that energetic state instead of just the job portion, right? Don't focus on that. Don't focus on the job interview, anything like that, until you kind of figure out what you want to go for. But firstly, if you're going to script, and actually, I just thought of something. If you try this one out, actually. So imagine yourself within an imaginative state in the present moment, imagining what you would do with the rest of your life if you could do anything. I wonder how that would work. It's like you script it out. So you could be sitting in the morning and you're saying, okay, I see what my energy looks like later in the day when I have my epiphany. Or I guess I shouldn't say imagine yourself thinking about it in the future. What would you feel like when you have that epiphany? What would you feel like when you figure out exactly what you want to do with the rest of your life? I would feel fucking ecstatic. I'd feel like a bolt of lightning just hit me. It'd be incredible. Be sensational. But I would focus more so on that. I know that's probably not the best advice, but honestly, like, without knowing all the details, I can't tell you. And I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. And, if you are talented at something, this is probably going to be like the last thing I want to say about it. If you are genuinely talented at something and you know that it is like innate talent, it's something that you were just born to do, you have to do it. And if you have multiple passions and they're all different things that you could specialize into, do all of them. Like, I understand the whole idea of, like, I don't have a job right now, I need to find a job because you need to pay bills, money, all that stuff. But in the long run, I want you to be able to work for yourself and to chase your dreams. Whatever it is. If it's an artistic pursuit, there is a market for it. There will always be a market for it. The only reason people don't think there is a market for it is because of their own self-doubts and self-beliefs. They're like, oh, I could never sell art. I was like, well, yeah, usually those who say they can and can't are both correct. It depends on what you tell yourself and how long you tell yourself that. So if you want something new, I would focus on the epiphany state, the feeling of figuring out, like, oh my God, that, I can't believe I didn't fucking see it before. That right there, give me more of that. That. Focus on that within the imagination. And then in the meantime, if you want to raise your energy, get your ass outside. Start chugging some water, try some yoga, working out, biking, time with friends, anything that is a higher vibration. When I say higher, I mean you're not being negative. There's no judgment. There's no shame. There's no hatred. Any of that stuff. And usually I get that when I go online. I do not like my experience a lot of times when I go online. The comment sections can be so rude, so nasty. I watch the news. It makes me feel like crap. So don't watch the news. Just try and bring it back in. Bring it to peace. spend some time in nature. I promise if you ask yourself a couple questions such as like, what would I do with the rest of my life if I could do anything? And they will come. But you need to ask yourself, like, what is my dream? What is my dream? I can't answer that fucking question. But what is your dream? What is it? Everyone has one. And you might even have multiple. You know? That's probably the most confusing part about the comment that I read, is that they have multiple passions. I was like, wow, that sounds like a great problem to have, honestly. And I will tell you, if you want some inspiration about what to do if you have multiple passions and there are things that you're very good at, seriously, go read about Leonardo da Vinci or like a Galileo or like an Isaac Newton or like a Nikola Tesla, right? These old school guys before all this technology and the ability to shoot emails and businesses were like this, where there's no free time anymore, if you think about it. But back in the day, there was a word called a polymath. And it's these people that were just geniuses at everything. They were inventors, they were painters, they were sculptors, they were engineers, they were architects. Some of them loved agriculture. You could be nursing plants. If you have a genuine burning desire to do something, like it brings you happiness through the day, ask yourself, can I make money with this? How can I make money with this? And then meditate on those thoughts. Once you start getting those answers, then you can start implementing those into your scripting process. But until you figure out exactly what you want to do, script it as if you don't know and you just want the energetic state of the epiphany. And then once you figure it out, then you can start scripting out, okay, I'm going to go to a job interview and I'm going to absolutely crush it. How would you feel walking out of a job interview that you just absolutely destroyed? Probably fantastic. So then you can start scripting it like that and include the place, people, things, just to make it a little bit more clear and easier for you to get in the zone when you're actually living in that moment, right? Because the goal of scripting is to just as closely follow what that imagined version of ourselves would be doing. Which I know sounds like absolutely fucking crazy. And I love you guys that are still listening, because trust me, I'm going nuts myself half the time. I'm talking about like hacking the subconscious brain and like all this other crazy shit. And it's all new. It's like it just keeps getting blasted down. There's just these new thoughts and things. And they're just so interesting. And that's what got me into what I want to do. And doing this is obviously a very different situation, but I just couldn't do it anymore. Like I'm good at math, but just because you're good at something does not mean it's your passion. Okay. So be conscious of that too. If just because you're good at something and just because other people tell you should do it because you're good at it. Oh, you should do that. You're good at it. You just understand them, ignore them. You know, you could say, oh yeah, just laugh it off. Go on. The thing is, a lot of people just do that because that's what they'll see for you. They're like, oh, well, you're good at it, so you could just do this for the rest of your life. No. I want to know what your unique passion is. Because there is something that you are better than everyone else at. It's your unique gift. Everybody's got unique gifts. No two of us are alike. No. So if you can figure that one out, maybe journal on that as well. I know this video is going to get kind of long here. But yeah, I mean, honestly, great question. Also, I didn't say anything about crystals. This might be getting a little out there, but I have found that the crystal singing bowls, you can just go on Amazon and just type in like 432 hertz crystal singing bowl. Obviously, you don't have to purchase it, but it does help. the ringing sound that it makes, especially at 432 hertz, which is supposed to be the frequency of like our Earth, the way it should be, which is kind of like calm and serenity. That's how I feel when I listen to it. So when I do that in the morning, I immediately feel like unstressed, like de-stressed. It's incredible. So yeah, quick run through of everything that we just went over, but get yourself into a healthy state first, a healthy mental state, because I understand how much it sucks being in between jobs, but you don't want to focus on the fact that you don't have a job, because then you're just going to not have a job. The more you focus on it, the worse it's going to get. Focus on right now, what are your passions and desires? And then honestly, maybe from a prior video I did, Brian Tracy had this concept where you write out 10 goals, right? Let's apply this to your passions. I want you to write down all of your passions right now and then start nicking them off until you get to like 1 to 2. Figure it out. Do pros and cons. Do goods and bads. All right. Obviously, the scripting as well. Script how you'd feel when you figure out what your passion is and try and live in that energy as much as possible, as crazy as that sounds. But yeah, I mean, there's not too much else to say. Like, other than knowing exactly what your passions are, I don't know. But you have to journal. You have to journal, and you have to ask yourself, what would I be doing? What is my dream? What is your dream? Because it's yours. No one could tell you. Increase your energy. Focus on the good. Love everyone. Turn off the news. I recommend everyone stop watching the news. You're not going to like what's about to happen very soon. So it's all just, it's programming. It's supposed to be there for fear. It's supposed to scare you. So turn it off. Stop paying attention to it and focus on your own reality, your own life. And whatever you can see, you can achieve. That is the most important thing. I just want all of you guys to be happy. Of course, I'm learning as I go. I am not perfect, and obviously use your discernment with anything I say. All right? I'm just a cracked out guy. I'm wearing a Tommy Bahama that's a decade old that has tears and rips all over it. All right? I haven't showered, and half the time I either have a green mask on and I make troll faces and just shit post online, or I make videos. Like, guys, I'm having a blast. I'm having a great fucking time, okay? And I want you to do the same thing. Focus on the energy of having a great time. Ask yourself the question, what would I do if I could do anything I wanted that was a passion of mine and I was not allowed to retire? What would you do if you couldn't leave? Ask yourself. Most people never will ask themselves. They just jump job to job to job. Because that's the way we're trained. We're trained to sit down, shut up, do as you're told, and then eventually you get to retire and you get a little bit of money or something. You already got your house, and then you just die. And I don't see that as being the point of life. I see the point of life as being that which you never want to retire because you're doing something you're genuinely passionate about. Like, you're always going to want to do it. It's never going to go away. It's part of who you are. So ask yourself, who am I? What would I do? What is my fucking dream? What does my dream life look like? Where am I? All of these questions. Go into meditation. And also, if I didn't mention before, subliminal beats, binaural beats, 528 hertz. Great. It's the frequency of love, and I do, when I go and I listen to them, I focus on self-love. Love is just not for always attracting other people. It's just love, right? So as far as raising frequency and energy, I love listening to that in background while I meditate. I always have some type of subliminal messaging going on, binaural beats. or just a frequency playing in the background. So try that out. Really journal about what you desire, and then when you go into that eyes closed state of meditation and you focus on those questions, really dig in to all the things you see and write them down afterwards. It's not a perfect process, and I don't know just yet how to 100% be like, all right, do this, and source, the universe will just go and just give it to you right off the bat. I don't know how to get that level of access to that part of the brain yet. Our ego is keeping us from there. That comes from something outside of us. It's a higher source power. So the more you remove yourself from the social media, the more you remove the stress, trust me, you got this. I'm rooting for you. Let me know if this helps.